So in this tutorial we're going to replace the sky. Copy your layer, work on a background copy. You need to make a selection of the sky that you need to delete. This is how I do it. I use the polygonal lasso tool. My feather is 1 pixel, and I've got add to selection highlighted up here. So I zoom in a little bit so I can actually see the roof line a little bit better. Click on the outside of the frame, and then when you get to the roof line, just get a little bit closer and then select the roof line. I'm gonna do this very quickly for the video, but when you do this, just probably be a little bit more accurate with your selection. It can be edited later, but the more accurate you can be in this process, the easier it is to replace the sky. The reason for that is because we've got a lot of pixels the same color in the sky as well as the roof line in this instance. So that's the only reason why I'm being a little bit more specific in the selection. So once it's selected, I turn off the eye icon on the background layer. I go to select color range, and this is virtually the same technique as Steve was showing us on Friday. So I leave my fuzziness at 32, but I may change this technique after viewing Steve's procedures. So I now add to selection, because there's a lot of off grey colours in the sky that I need to get rid of. So, and then just click multiple times on those grey areas to remove all those grey lines. So now we've actually got a clear definition from black to white, so anything in the white area is going to get deleted. So once you're happy with your selection, click OK. That puts a selection around the roof line and all of your image, and obviously getting rid of my finger that was covering the sun in this photo. So I now just hit delete, and that's all the sky gone. So my go-to sky is this one here. Looks like there's quite a lot of grey cloud in this image, but it works for me. One of the reasons being it's got quite a lot of cloud on the horizon, and it graduates up to the blue, up to the top, and it just makes it easier around your selection of roof line or trees if you've got a base of cloud on the horizon. So select your sky, Control A, Control C, Control V, paste it into your source image with the background layer icon turned off. Select your cloud and move it underneath the background copy. When you reach underneath that layer, there's a line in between the two layers, and that's an indication that you've reached the below layer, and you can actually put the cloud sky underneath your source image. Now my skies, when I photograph my skies, I leave them to a large as shot file size in the camera. So the main reason for doing that is to actually scale the sky and move the sky to a pleasing look, etc. So Control T I can actually see the the, the size of the file compared to my 3000, 2000. So I tend to sort of bring it into roughly the same size as my 3000, 2000, and then I just slowly bring it up to a position where it looks fine, because obviously I need some of the blue sky and then the cloud underneath. So just about there I would be really happy with. So click the tick. Now, in the original Open2View manuals tutorial, I was instructed to go back to this layer here, which is the layer, sort of half of the layer, the below half layer, and then zoom in, and then across the roof line. With your selections, you could either miss or exclude or include edges of the photo, and it would leave a white sort of edge across the image, which needs to be burnt in. So I've got the burn tool selected. With the burn tool selected, I've got highlights and exposure on 5%, and it's a brush again, so just reduce the size of the brush, and just to blend in the sky with the lower image, I just brush over. You probably won't be able to see the technique of this or the effect of this, but it just knocks back that white edge across the top of your selection line of the image. It's not too bad in this instance. We've done a pretty good job. So that's probably a technique that you, or a workflow that you probably wouldn't need to do. So back onto full screen, I go back to the cloud layer, and then I don't do this all the time, but yeah, some of the time I do a levels adjustments. So on the layers palette, I do an adjustment layer, and I click on levels, and what this does, you can whiten your this is just working on the sky, by the way. You can whiten the sky a little bit. I usually drag the middle slider, and it just sort of whitens the image up, and whitens the sky from the old grey sky it was to a little bit brighter. So once you're happy, close that down, and you can go back and revisit that again. That's just a global adjustment of the sky. You can actually click on the blue channel, and you can actually change the saturation of the blue channel as well. Don't often do that, because you know this sky, I'm pretty happy with the saturation of the sky. If you've got to go to cloud, you can also just save the sky to, you know, the color of the clouds and the saturation of the blue sky to your liking. Then you wouldn't have to do that adjustment. So when you're happy with your workflow, just press your flatten action, and then save as normally. Again, hope that helps.